You're listening to the Young Picasso podcast.
Welcome to, oh my God. Oh Lord, this is how we starting this episode. Shit. Welcome to the Young Picasso podcast. I'm your host, Ollie, and with me are my lovable band of delinquents, starting with
Tessa.
And your boy Rain.
Yeah. And first of all, like we always start, how was your week? What's going on?
Oof.
Word to your mother.
I'm going to keep mine short because this one has a lot longer per.
Shit.
My week was good. So how was yours, Tess?
My toilet broke, ants have invaded, and I got almost bit by a dog. It's been a long week.
Oh man. Yeah.
You press the button there.
That's always a loaded question with me. How are you doing? Do you really want to know?
Do you really? I want to know everything.
Have you not listened to the many of rants I've had since I've been here? And you dare ask me how my week was?
So anything new, creative wise, that you discovered this week?
I started looking at other people's business cards to figure out what I wanted for my business card.
Mm.
Those shirts were fire.
Yeah, those business cards were fucking works of art themselves. So I gotta step my game up so I can draw some art to put on the business card to promote myself.
Word.
It's in what? March, the MegaCon,
Yes,
towards
sir.
the end. So
We still have over, we have over a
they
month.
gave us the shortest month in the fucking year. Black History Month is gonna be over in the next blink and a half. So
Jeez.
it feels like I have time, but I don't. That I'm gonna start working on that probably tomorrow.
We should talk about that, actually.
For the podcast or for afterwards?
Both. I mean, well, both. I there was this TikTok I saw talking about like, oh, why do you guys get a whole month? Blah 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 blah. You don't hear us saying White History Month. Blah 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 blah.
Because that's every single month.
Exactly.
Every single month.
They don't call it a month. They don't call it months. They
just
call it
call it
history.
history.
Exactly.
And I heard this quote. Well, I didn't hear it. I read it off of Tumblr. That's my source. But it's like history is the perspective of the victors. It's not those that were right. It's those that won.
Yep.
So, of course, America is like the freaking dominators on so many things. And like, I had this discussion with some of my coworkers.
Mm-hmm.
One of my coworkers is new to the country,
Mhm.
and he came from Cuba.
Okay.
So coming from like a communist, I think they're communist, right? The communist
I'm pretty
government to democracy. He was kind of like, still shady stuff that goes on around here.
Mhm.
And me and him both had to like come to an understanding. Well, we had to try and explain it to the old head that it's like there is no such thing as black or white. There's no good politician. There's no bad politician. Like
They're
All
all
y'all
both-
niggas just fucked
yeah,
up.
Democrats, Republicans, they're all corrupt. It's just a matter of who is the lightest gray and who is the darkest gray. Like who's going to kill me now and who's going to kill me later. And
That's true.
when it comes to history, a lot of things are just grazed over for the sake of people's. I don't know. I feel like that
Peace
white
of
guilt. Yeah, their peace of mind, because like that white guilt thing is a thing. Like I work with a lot of. I would say a diverse group, but it's not a diverse group. I'm a minority there.
Mhm.
And I have met like a lot of people, like Caucasian people. I'm down with one of like a couple of them.
Mhm.
And then you have others that will be like, "What's up, sis?" Like, "Oh my God, that your hair is fire." And it's like, you don't have to try and talk like me.
They put on a costume.
Yeah. So it's like, I could only imagine how they would feel if they really knew what America did to get to where we are now.
And mind you, I'm not. Even though in high school, they didn't really explain the political parties. They just said pick one, and everyone was like Democrat, and I was like, okay. But on paper, that might be my voting card. But like, if I had to say, I'm nonpartisan because I think both parties are stupid, and corrupt. But you see a lot of people on like, I hate to say the word liberals because that makes me sound like a Republican. But like a redneck. Yeah, a lot of liberal type people will go like, they'll shuck and jive whenever they see like a minority or like especially a person of color, especially black people, they'll be like, they try to be down. You ever see those like Family Guy sketches when it's like a white dude trying to like acclimate to like, hey, my nigga. Well, I can't do it because I'm black. But if I tried to do my, I can't do a white man.
I can do it.
You can do a white man doing a black man.
What's up, sis? Oh my God, your outfit is so fire. Those shoes are lit.
I can do what?
This has word for word what was said to me. Like this is not a made up scenario.
Wait, hold on.
And don't get me wrong, the person who said it, if she ever hears this, no
tea,
disrespect to her. Like no tea, no shade. It's just you don't have to try and use my lingo to feel like you relate to me. Yeah. Like I speak normally. There's no such thing as speaking white. I speak like I have an education. So I feel like at times that's a microaggression in itself when like white people, and I'm gonna say white people just to generalize, so don't get hurt, but like a lot of white people, when they try and show their unity, they feel like they have to conform in a way that's not natural to them. Like you don't have to listen to the music, like you don't have to rap Tupac and Biggie to prove that you're down for the cause. Just be down for the cause. Like that's it.
Well, this might turn into our unofficial Black History Month episode, because I was gonna tell you why everybody want, and I'm gonna say it because I can say it because I'm black. Why everybody want to be a nigga, but no one wants to be a nigga when
it's important?
Yeah,
it's trendy.
Oh,
like
I don't want to dominate the podcast. I feel like I can talk about this.
Listen,
shit all day.
take off. We're two guys. We want to hear a lady's perspective on shit.
Buckle up. I already know. If we ever get famous, this gonna be one of the podcasts they gonna try and use to cancel me.
I think I told y'all last week. I'm gonna get canceled like 50 times over, so we're good.
Last week, that was this morning.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah,
that was literally like a few hours ago.
I went to a predominantly white institution for college, and it was a culture shock because I went to a white high school for like a year, and it was so bad. I went back to the school I basically graduated from, went back and worked for them. That was shit, but at least it was shit with my own people. Like dealing with either the white guilt or the white superior complex or the white savior it's all the same thing. Like it's so frustrating, especially as a black woman, because I have that label of aggressive black woman on me all the time. Even when I had a right to be angry, I had to learn not to show it, because as soon as I showed it, it overshadowed all the wrong shit that was done to me. So I felt like a lot of white people, they recognize that to a certain extent, but they don't want to take accountability for the role that they play in it. So like they want, and again, I'm generalizing, of course, there's counter arguments for everything, but they want textured hair. All of a sudden, they want to make their natural curls pop. They want to use the lock method, the spray tans, and this and the that, and the lip fillers, and it's like, bro, the same things that some of the people like, not. And I hate throwing the Kardashians in because I don't know them personally, but what they portray is what I'm going to use. And it's like seeing what the Kardashians do for publicity is shit that I got to look out for when I'm trying to get a job.
You know what's funny about that? Now you see those same people, like Kim got a butt reduction. Chloe just took out her BBL and lip fillers
because they're dating white men.
Yeah. Let's
be real.
Yeah, they're like, we don't want to deal with that.
When it's convenient, they can go back to their original race. I can't take this shit off though, and that's where the problem lies.
And you know what's crazy? Going back to the comment you said about like not trying to be perceived as like an angry black woman. What's crazy is people that know you're not an angry black woman. You're just expressive. That's how you're like a very outgoing type of person, and that's like you need to communicate your feelings. And a lot of times people say some stupid shit to you, and I don't blame you, because it takes a lot of strength, and it bothers me that black women have to have all this weight on their back just to survive, because y'all shouldn't be doing that.
And I feel like half the time, half of the problem is white people, but the bigger problem is us.
Yeah. Yep.
Because even going to a predominantly white institution, I got some microaggressions, but like the conversations I remember the most were from black men.
Speak on that. Speak on that.
It's like, oh God. So long story short, I had a Tinder profile for like a week. I didn't even show my face. And I still made matches. I don't know how. Niggas was thirsty.
Wow.
But basically I had started like not dating, but just like interacting with some people I matched with.
Yeah.
And some things worked, like some things didn't, like in terms of friendships, but other things they tried to make it more, and I was stuck on stupid for another nigga, so it didn't work.
Yeah.
But like the ones that I rejected were just like, oh, you must have daddy issues, because that's the reason why you don't want a real man. It's like, I can call my father right now, sir. You will disappear.
That's
like,
so fucking
I don't
rude,
have
though.
that. Yeah. And it's like, one of my ex's roommates, he's a black man.
Yeah.
He had a kid in high school by a Spanish chick because he's anti-black. Like, he believes that black women are dumb, the scum of the earth. Like,
I hate those kind of
ghetto. We're ignorant. We don't know how to be good wives, good spouses. And he was watching me be a good girlfriend to my ex at the time, even though nigga didn't deserve it. And it went from being, oh, you're just like everybody else, to, oh, well, you're different. You're not the stereotypical black girl. And it's like, I am, though. I'm loud. I was raised in like the city. Like, my parents didn't let me be a part of the streets, but I knew about it. I know enough to know if I see certain shit to get my ass out of there.
Yeah.
Like, I'm very opinionated. I want long hair down to my butt. I want acrylic nails. Like, the stereotype that you feel like I'm not, I am. It's just I can't show it here because I'm at a predominantly white institution.
But you know what my problem with that is, especially when I hear niggas say stuff like that? It's like, black people are not stereotypes. Yes, you can go to a certain area and see those stereotypes, but we come in all like shapes. Oh my God. Shapes, sizes, backgrounds, and stuff like that. So to know, like, for example, I know my type of girl. I like artistic, nerdy types of girls. I was never the kind of guy, and you'll hear that from a plethora of black guys, who's like, oh, I don't like black girls because they can't relate to me because they called me white. I've been called white my entire life, like down to my freaking name. How many black guys you know named Oliver? That's none.
Oh, I catfish so many people in job interviews. It's not even funny.
Oof, that's a worse part. We'll get on that one. But to know that dudes are just like, oh, black girls are this, black girls are that, or black's not beautiful. That's an internal hatred that you heard growing up.
It is.
And just because you were bullied or the girls that you wanted don't want you doesn't mean there's a girl that's not your type. There are plenty of nerdy black girls. There are plenty of like smart
alternative emo.
You're just not looking for them.
You're not looking. Like, I could.
This is your time. This is this is officially the Black History episode. So I'm sorry if y'all. We'll try to slip into some art stuff, but
and I want to hear like y'all's perspective
of course.
Too, because it's like I
that
know
nigga over there is quiet over there.
What?
But he got the gas over there.
he does, because like I know y'all aren't
the
the type to be like, oh, you're a black girl, but like quite literally, the most recent interaction I've had, I had a random phone call from a dude that I used to like, right? Did me dirty, blase blah, because I was black, I was too dark, whatever. And like he called me at like 10 o'clock at night, and he calls me and he starts going off about his relationship, and I'm like looking at the phone, and I was like, you know who this is, right? And he's like, yes, Tess. I'm like, yeah. Kept going.
Yeah.
So then he's like, oh, you got a boyfriend? Yeah. Oh, am I gonna get you into trouble, nigga? No. But like, I'm grown. He grown. It's different, nigga. Like, healthy relationship. No, because I don't want you. So he's telling me all this stuff about what his girlfriend is putting him through, this, and that, and like all this toxic shit. And I'm thinking to myself, and this is petty, but I'm like, you see, but the burnt bitch would have treated you better, though, right? Because I'm lighter now. Yeah. When I was growing up, I was darker because I was more active.
Yeah.
So I was dark, like I was a deep dark chocolate back then. And that was around the time that he knew me. But it's like now I've gotten lighter. I stayed out the sun, whatever. Like my complexion has changed. And I have noticed the difference from when I was darker, the kind of reactions I get from dudes, and now. Jesus. So it's like when he got his spew out and he's just like, maybe if I would have like treated girls better instead of just judging them about X, Y, and Z, maybe I wouldn't have gone through the things that I went through. And I'm like,
he wants to say something so bad.
Would you picture that if you didn't like stereotype against your own kind?
Yeah.
because he feels like, and it probably is from his mom, like he feels like all black girls talk hard. We are hard, aggressive. We
What
don't
was he
support.
black? Like, was he dark skin?
Yeah, he's darker than me.
Oh
Like,
shit!
this was like that's what made me so upset. And it's like I had to tell him, as a black woman, I don't talk down on black men
Never.
because I don't believe in that.
Yeah.
Like, even within the job field that I have, I don't like talking down on anybody. I'll talk to you.
Yep.
I don't talk down on you because
Exactly.
we all are going to reach a certain low point in our life. But I had to explain to him, like, as a black woman, you don't have to tell me to be soft to my man. I know how to be soft. I know how to reach him where he's at and support him where he needs to be supported. Like, that's in every woman.
Yeah.
But in black women especially, I feel like we see the plight that you guys have to go through. So maybe it's like problematic for me to say this, but no other woman can love a black man like a black woman.
I 100% co-sign that.
It's just, I don't know. What do you think, Rain?
I don't know. Because it's just, yeah, no, that's a hard one, because on the other side of the fence is one of those things where, do you have to be part of the same race to love that person wholeheartedly?
Well,
I asked that because I remember I had a conversation with a friend of mine, because me, for a long time, it's been just like, in this day, it's probably still the same way, where it's just like, my preference is just black girls.
Yep.
That's it. And I remember I had a conversation with a friend, and he's just like, well, isn't that kind of limiting in a sense, where it's just like you're limiting yourself to just one specific race? And it's just like, I can understand where he's coming from, but at the same time, it's kind of like, well, I don't really care.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, that's what I was going to say, is that there is still a plethora of other guys and girls from different races, and it has its own benefits as well of being able to explore different races, different cultures, etc., etc. It doesn't have to be from your own race. So that's where I'm kind of like on the borderline of just like, I agree with what Tess is saying, but at the same time, I can understand the other side to it as well.
I'm gonna put this out here. I've always like, that's never.
Oh, that's never gonna change.
That's
right.
never gonna change. It's always been my preference. But I can't say as somebody who has like gone. I've liked other girls too, because I can't say I'm not attracted. I think because of my environment, I mostly grew up with black and brown girls, so that's what I'm used to. It's like Tessa was saying. It's not that a girl from another race is incapable of loving you. Of course, you always, you love who you love, but there's a different connection dating a black woman, especially like they know what it's like to go through the experience. They can connect with you, not on like a metaphysical aspect.
And there's a lot less explaining.
Yes. Yes, because if we're being quite honest, and this is my opinion, but in my opinion, no other race is the most hated than the black race. In Hispanic community, in the Asian community, in the white community, you bring a black person home and you're disowned. Period. Like when a minority brings a white person home, it's more along the lines of colonizer, danger. Like you have a chance of being lynched. Like you're gonna deal with racism, this and that. But when you bring a black person home, it's, oh, you're dirtying the bloodline. You're this and that. You're just like you're disgracing the family. And it's like no other race knows what it feels like to be hated by all races, but the black race. To me,
I completely agree with that, because there's no place in the world, like, yes, there's always going to be racial biases no matter what group of people, but collectively, everyone that's not black. And I know it's going to sound like a wild statement. And again, if it doesn't apply with you, I'm not trying to target anyone.
Yeah, we're not trying to generalize.
But
this is all very much opinionated stuff.
It feels as if like everyone thinks they're white, even when they're not.
You said white or right?
White, like Caucasian. Like everyone identifies as white, except for, obviously, we can't. Even though there are some people can disown it.
You see Candace Owens.
I'm a name dropper. I don't care. That feel as if they're white. And again, you can talk a lot of game and say, preference this and preference that. And if you have a preference, that's fine. But preference doesn't mean exclusion.
But then let's define what exactly a preference is.
Well, it's like, okay. I
know what a preference is. We know what a
we
preference is.
we all.
Yeah.
But for the people listening, it's like my favorite ice cream is cookie and cream. That's my preference. That's my go-to ice cream till the day I die. But I'm not gonna say I'm not going to eat rum raisin. Sure, if I have to, I eat vanilla. If I have
I'm not
to,
eating rum raisin.
rum raisin, bussin'.
I just say fuck mint
My
chocolate.
dad loves rum raisin though.
That shit bussin'.
Say fuck mint chocolate.
Mint chocolate. That's rude. That's a rude ice cream.
That's a rude ice cream.
It's like giving somebody a tootsie. Like, you ain't gonna eat no tootsie roll.
Or
That's like
Twizzler.
Well,
I don't like.
the smell of those make me sick.
I never liked the taste because it tastes like plastic, like cherry plastic.
Yeah, that's pretty. That's
Like you're
pretty
chewing on a
fucking
car
accurate.
freshener.
Mm-hmm.
But so yeah, when it comes to preferences, some things, if it's something that's out of your control, it's not a preference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you can't.
Yeah.
Well, this is gonna turn more into a male female thing than it is like a race thing.
Go ahead.
I only bring that up because when you talk about something like female preference for male preference, right?
Yeah.
Well, generally speaking, I'm not speaking for everybody,
Okay.
but a lot of times when you hear a female's preference, what is it usually?
Tall. That's a big one.
What
Tall.
else?
That's something that you can't control. Tall. But yeah, we were talking about preferences.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You specifically talking about guys versus girls. How they different?
Well, because when it comes to preferences, like certain things they can't really change.
Let's talk about that.
So,
Girl preferences.
so Tess, you speak on that.
Yeah.
Okay, as a woman,
Yeah.
I know some people get sensitive when you refer to girls as females, so I'm gonna make a conscious effort. As a woman,
Yeah.
I don't agree with a lot of the stereotypes that girls tend to have. Like, oh, he has to be over 6 feet, he has to be, he has to be buff, he has to be in the gym, blah blah blah. Because I know my body build. I'm not gonna be picky when I do whatever the fuck feel right in the moment.
Right.
But I do see both sides to that, because it's like I like to say I don't have a type. Apparently I do, because my past 2 relationships have been tall, dark skinned niggas with dreads. And that just does it for me. I'm sorry.
Bald niggas beware.
Yeah. Like, I didn't think I had a type.
Bald short niggas beware.
Oh, no.
But I have a type. But at the same time, my type isn't, oh, he has to have 3% BMI. Oh, he has to have 3% hazel eyes. Like he needs to have, his hair need to be curly, not wavy. Like I personally don't agree with either side doing that, because it's very conceited and it's very, I don't know the word I'm looking for, but it's like you're taking that person at face value.
Yep.
Because I know growing up, I was passed up by a lot of dudes because I was darker, natural hair, short hair. I wasn't Spanish. I wasn't this. I wasn't that. I didn't have tits or ass until I got to college. And it's like, that damaged me.
Yeah.
Like that damaged my self-esteem.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine how it is for a guy when y'all are just being yourselves, and it's, oh, you play video games? Ew. Oh,
Bro,
you
it's
drive
like,
a
we can't
Honda?
have no.
Ew.
Hey, no, hey. 'Cause when I get my car, you can't tell me
Oh,
shit.
listen.
When
listen.
DK and I get our car,
Oh my
ooh.
God.
for
Pray for
preference,
me.
DK is her boyfriend,
Yes.
and that's my best friend, one of my best friends. Oh my
I'm
god,
the other best friend, right?
Yes, you were the
Yes.
other best
I'm
friend.
somewhere like 4th to 5th, but I accept my role in the
That's the thing. It's just like that's it. When we had a conversation about that, the whole best friend thing. It was like, what do you qualify as a best? Okay, actually no. DK is not my best friend. He's technically my other brain cell.
Yeah.
That's what he
Yes.
is.
Yeah.
They share.
So he's
brain
like,
cells.
that's a different level right there.
I don't rank y'all. Y'all are all one homogenous group.
Homogenous.
Like they're all like, you ever seen Godzilla with King Ghidorah?
Mhm.
No, but like multiple heads. That's what you guys are. Like all of that. That's my family right there.
So that's why it's just like when it comes like when it says like, oh, your friend group, it's just like, oh well, it's a bunch of niggas. Like there's Big Gabe, Lil Gabe, there's Ollie, like there's a group of people that I just messed with since we met in high school, in college, and they just never strayed away from since then. Tess is the most recent, but it's like it was just that instant kind of click where it's just like
You stuck
we
with
were
us now,
the same
though.
level of petty.
Yeah.
Like quite literally, me and him are the same level of petty. I didn't think I'd ever find a male match.
bro, that shit was funny. She's like, I didn't think I could find someone to match. And it's like, that's what I'm here for.
When I
Like,
tell you these two.
But it's
White
like,
on rice.
can you imagine though if I was the type of female that would have been like, oh, your friend group is this? Like, oh, you're not hanging out with scammers? Because being from Miami,
Yeah,
Oh my god.
Broward niggas,
terrible.
I can say it because I'm from fucking Broward. Broward niggas ain't shit.
I'm
They're
from
not.
both.
Yeah.
Most of them ain't shit. So
Yeah.
it's like, oh, y'all not scamming. Y'all not out here getting this money. Like y'all not out here selling drugs. Like I could have been that kind of person. I don't do well in prison. I would fold. I would sing like a canary. I'm not going to jail for you.
There are some females out there that are like that. And it's
Yes,
kind of,
there are.
it's almost like they tend to Frankenstein / Build-A-Bear this preconceived guy
And
that they're looking
never
for.
going to get it.
And it's I saw this one video and this girl, like, she had to record herself, look at it, and then post it, and thought to herself this shit made sense.
This
Oh,
gonna
no.
slap.
She was just like, is there a guy that's kind of hood, did some time, but is reformed, and he has his own business? And I'm just like, what kind of guy are you looking for right now?
Fictional.
Yeah, fictional character.
Yeah.
And like, don't get me wrong, there is such a thing as standards. Like, my standards is you have to have your own transportation.
Of
You have
course.
to have your own income. Like, if you're living with your parents, what's your
Okay.
goal to get out of that? There's a difference between a standard and just you being ridiculous.
Right. So
Yeah.
I was gonna ask. So, damn, I kind of forgot what I was gonna ask. Because it was gonna border along the lines of, okay, if that person, let's say, doesn't have their own car yet,
Right.
is that something to knock them for?
No. Okay. So
Not you specifically,
Yeah,
but
but-
generally, like,
it is very situational.
Mhm.
As a person, as me, I can only speak for me. But as a woman
Mhm.
who is a builder,
Mm.
I don't care about where you are. I care about your work ethic, because we all start from somewhere.
Yep.
So if I meet you and you don't really have a job or a car yet, but you're like, hey, I need help applying for this, not, and then I help you and you do it, that's fine. Like, the person I'm with now, DK, he's a grower. Like, he's not complacent with where he's at. And I feel like no tea, no shade to who I was with before, but I feel like I pushed him a lot and he only went about so far. And it wasn't until he felt like he was losing me that he was like, okay, well, let me go apply for these jobs. Or like, literally, when I broke up with him that last time, that's when he got the job where he was working at. And it's like, it shouldn't have taken all of that. Like, it shouldn't have taken for me to move away from you for you to get a car and you get a job. Like, it should not have taken that. So it's like, there's a difference between preferences and standards. My standards are, I should not have to mother you.
Yep.
I should not have to clean up after you. I shouldn't have to pick up after you. I shouldn't have to monitor your phone. I shouldn't have to worry about if your female friends are female friends or if they're like fucking relationships that y'all used to talk and y'all kind of do a little bit on the side. I don't have to worry about that. Like, that's my bare minimum. Like, your female friends are female friends. No, nothing mixed. Y'all ain't never did shit before. You don't know what her titties look like. None of that. Like, that's the bare minimum to me. But that whole 6'1" stat, like, that to me is extra. Like, none of the people that I've dated off of looks. I've dated them because I thought that they were good people.
And you know what's crazy? Piggybacking off of what you said. It's crazy how many dudes look for their mother, and I don't.
Yes, speak on it.
And I don't mean this in the qualities of their mother. They literally look for a mother in their girl.
You know, a lot of times as well, we're known for that because of the fact that we grow up in, a lot of times, single mother households.
Yeah.
Now, where that stems from, we can go about that. That's a topic in itself. Like, it's a bunch of different things. But yeah, a lot of times they end up they do end up looking for their mother.
Yeah.
Which is
questionable.
Yeah.
It's very questionable because I get it, but I don't rock with it.
I get it. I've dated a lot of dudes that didn't have healthy relationships with their mothers, and I became their mother. Like, even my middle school relationship.
But how do you live with yourself? Stand up! Like, I can't do that.
But that's...
I can live with myself.
Your problems are your problems.
Yeah.
That's male, female, black, white. It doesn't matter. Like, no one gives a shit about your problems.
That's true.
And on top of that, you know what? We're talking about standards, right?
Yep.
One of my biggest standards going into my next relationship, whenever that is that person has to love themselves.
Oh, yeah.
I cannot love you more than
You love yourself.
you love yourself,
Mm-hmm.
because that right there just doesn't work. And that's coming from someone who didn't really love himself as much. It
Yeah.
doesn't work.
No.
You have to be able to have that self-confidence and self-love for yourself, and that way it spills over, and then the rest of people can kind of get whatever you're feeding off. But whatever you're radiating is nothing but just how you feel towards yourself.
Bro, I completely agree. That's why I took a break from like pursuing and like looking, because personally right now where I feel like I'm at, I don't feel like I'm ready, because if I do want to pursue a relationship with the girl, I don't want to waste your time.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mind building and growing, but I want to at least come
With stuff,
with
things like on the table.
exactly. Because I understand when girls are like, oh, we don't want to mess with dusties and bums and stuff like this, because it's like a lot.
But then what qualifies as a dusty or a bum? Because someone like, well, Tess can attest. She can attest to that.
Yeah.
But you have those who work those jobs that no one wants to work, like McDonald's or X, Y, and Z. Like DK, for example, is working at Walmart, but he also has big shit going for himself, like right now.
Got a plan though. A lot of, and there's nothing wrong with average Joes, but the problem is a lot of people, and I don't want to blame this on women, but a lot of women feel as if they want an exceptional dude, and that's
they want an exceptional dude, but something it's also bragging rights.
But I get why they want that though, because imagine you have to carry.
Thank you for saying
You gotta carry your life inside of you.
Oh.
You really want a nigga that doesn't even own a mattress to be the father of your child, and that baby's like sleeping on the floor?
I don't want to sound like a pick me.
I get that. Continue.
Like, I don't want to sound like a pick me,
Mm.
because it's like I understand where y'all are coming from. Where it's like some women do have unrealistic expectations of what they want from y'all, but at the same time, y'all have to understand, like, women that get it. Like, we do not want flight risks. We don't want you to knock us up and then decide that you don't want to be a dad, and you up and leave, and now we gotta feed your kid and be baby mama number 6.
And that also goes both ways. I know there's a lot of guys out there who's just like, oh, even the submission thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, a woman's supposed to submit to a man, blah, 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 blah.
That's questionable.
The problem with that is that you have to be someone worth submitting to in the first place.
Yep.
You can't just show up with your dick hanging out and thinking that it's just going to happen that way.
No matter the size.
Yeah, no matter the size. Like, you can't just show up dick swinging and they're like, okay, you're supposed to submit. Like, that's not how that shit works either way.
You know what? Why that? And I get why dudes say it, why it bothers me sometimes, because it's like, I want a partner. And I understand sometimes, like,
especially in this day and
yeah,
age.
exactly.
All the shit, like, yeah.
I don't know how you can live with, like, and I get it. Traditionally, guys were the leader, and kind of inadvertently, I feel like in most relationships, the guy is going to be somewhat of a leader because he has to do the, and he should be the one, honestly, to be like, hey, I'm gonna take a bullet, or I wouldn't want to shoulder the burden of responsibility on my girlfriend, my wife, because I saw that growing up, having a mother who was a single mother for a long time, what that does. And I couldn't, because I told my mom, I made a promise to her as a little kid, like I would, look after her when she's older and, make sure she's taken care of. Because I guess the way I was brought up is like, that's the role of your children. They look after their parents when they, grow up.
They can't take care of themselves anymore.
Exactly. And I feel like knowing that I'm going to make a union with someone's daughter, I want to make sure that she's taken care of, bro. Because it's like, and it's not to say like women are property or whatever, like those idiots on the internet like to say.
Right.
But like, you do have, it's not ownership, it's responsibility. Because a lot of the things, even though she can take care of herself, even though she is independent, she is relying on you in a sense that to allow herself to like let her hair down proverbially and let her guard down and like trust you with the responsibilities of not just her body but her mentality too. Go ahead.
No, I want to say I agree with what you're saying wholeheartedly. my question is there some can you be truly independent?
In what regard?
Well, people say like I'm an independent this or independent that, not just women, men as well. Like can you truly be an independent person? Because no matter what it is, you need someone for something.
Oh yeah. It
may not be financially, so to speak, but in some way, shape, or form, you are relying on another person for some kind of thing.
In the most literal sense, no one's independent because we all we all need something from somebody. You know, we get our income, our food, whatever, our shelter from somebody. But on a more micro sense, when it comes to adulting, yeah, if you're a functioning adult, like Tess, for example, she has her own house, she has her own job.
I still say no to that.
You don't think she's
well, because I still have support from my family. Because like I wouldn't have had that house without my parents.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I wouldn't have had that job if like my sister didn't help me like say what to say on these interviews for that particular position.
Right.
So, but it's like.
But that does not discredit the fact that she's still doing what she has to do. Because even though she needed help getting that job or getting whatever she needs to get, she's still very much maintaining and doing what the hell she has to do. So in that regard, that's independence and not right.
Yeah.
But in terms of, like you said before, like even when it came to the hurricane with her in the house, her parents had to help her out with that.
Yeah.
Even when it comes to me, when I move out eventually, I'm still going to need help because a nigga got to file on taxes. Like a nigga got to do this and I got to do like, I'm going to need help from my mom on how to figure that stuff out.
Yeah.
There's certain things where you may say like you're independent, but there's certain things you need to help.
But at the same time, I'll be damned if my parents send me money to pay my bills now, though.
Yeah.
Because it's like, if I made the decision to move out and be on my own, like I should not have to reach out and be like, hey, I can't pay the mortgage this month. Like, can you send the whole thing? Like, I might text my dad and be like, hey, can I get $50? And he doesn't want me to pay him back, but I do off of principle.
That's what I like about you. Like, not only are you self-reliant, you're like, you have that self-respect about yourself that like a lot of people lack. And I'm not saying if you ask for a handout, you're a bad person or anything.
No, not at all.
But personally, I don't like owing people things. That's what I like. And I like doing things for people because that's just the type of person I am. But I don't like, I've always been like, oh, when somebody gets me something or somebody does something for me, I'm kind of like, I don't know if that's how I was brought up. I was like, oh, like, oh, why are you doing that? But to going back to what you were saying, my uncle had told me something recently, and he said, Ali, we all need people because where this relates to is we were talking about like family members stopping in and out of the house, you know, because you know they need help and stuff like that. And I was apprehensive about it. I was like, man, I don't know. Like I get it from like a moral standpoint, but like I'm like, damn, you know, you're struggling to get by. The three of us, imagine adding more people to it. And he's like, look, man, we're always going, you never know when you're going to need somebody. And it's not just necessarily, oh, you need it because you want somebody to do a favor for you. Imagine if that was you in that scenario. Like you would want somebody to help you out if they had the ability to do it. Now, obviously, don't take that for granted.
No,
but like,
no,
you
of
know,
course not.
help others when you know you can.
And even when it comes to big and or small things, more personal things, whatever you want to call it, like even though I myself, you
she bumped her.
So whenever you ask Tess how her week has been,
I hate it here. I feel like I knocked my heel off.
Oof.
Continue.
Just ignore the sounds of pain in the background. What's that, Ollie?
I'm specifically not. I'm making direct eye contact with you. She's been doing it all night, and I've been ignoring it ever since she took the socks off.
For context, Oliver hates feet, and Tess just banged her foot, and
it's up in the air, elevated.
That's why she's like, "Hey, Ollie, what's that?" Right
my
now?
Peripheral vision is going crazy. Like I have to blur my eyes right now because like I can see it. Like. Out of focus, and I'm dying on the inside. I'm like, content. Remember the content. I'm dying. Oh,
I'll put the socks
And,
back on.
and the back of all these minds, just like, this wouldn't have to get socks on. It's like-
Oh, I'm crying internally.
but
Oh man.
yeah,
Reliance.
Reliance, independence, and so on and so. So even like, for example, with me, writing and drawing my own comic and coming up with that stuff.
Mhm.
How many times did we sit down here before that summer? And we started coming up with ideas and
Several times.
and then even then, after that, I still wasn't doing anything with the comic. It
Mhm.
wasn't until like people had to slap some sense in me, like, "Yo, nigga, like, you gonna do this shit or what?"
Don't
Like,
waste that talent. I'll kill you. I told you that several times. I'll kill you. And even vice versa. I know even last week I know we were talking, and I came to you to ask you because I value your advice and your opinion, obviously. But like
Sometimes.
sometimes when he
Sometimes.
when he wants to,
Sometimes.
the shade, no tea between
because you know
these two.
damn well she's lying. So
But yeah, I love bouncing off ideas because we need each other. Like I don't think there's anybody, and regardless to what history tells you, that came up with all these grandiose ideas by themselves and never had input from the outside world.
That's bullshit.
Of course, someone's always going to be inspired by something.
Exactly. Inspiration, referencing, all that stuff is gonna happen. Someone overheard an idea, like it just depends on who's the first person to act on it.
This is why I don't believe in like, oh, artists never the idea just popped. Like I can see how like bits and pieces can form in your brain, but entirely you've got to reference something.
You reference something from someone.
Mhm.
I remember DK, I think it was last week or so, and I saw the post again. Like my favorite manga right now is like Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yep, goat.
And then it was a post that was made about how Geiga Akutami, the creator,
Mhm.
it was a side-by-side panel between the characters he created and Bleach characters.
Mhm.
And he was a huge like Bleach fan.
Yep.
And if you look at the side-by-side comparison, it's damn near like similar,
Mhm.
if not vague, like just very much influenced.
Yeah.
So it's just like, you shouldn't be ashamed of being referenced as long as it's not a carbon copy of whatever it is. You can come up with a lot of great shit from referencing and just an amalgamation of different things that pop up.
And I feel like I've said this before, and I'm probably gonna say this all the time on this podcast. It's named after this guy. There's a reason why it's named after this guy, and I love him. Pablo Picasso said, good artists copy, great artists steal. And what he meant by that is exactly what Drain is basically saying. You can use something as a reference, but you can take from multiple references
Yeah.
and make your own thing.
That's how people come up with art styles. They take things. I remember Jim Lee was talking about how he draws like ears, for example.
Mhm.
And he's just like, everyone has universally the same ear or like the same eyebrow. Or something is the same.
Mhm.
And he got that from another artist who he's inspired by. He can influence that with his art. But his art style is very different from that art style because that's how his brain processes things. So it's just like, that's how I'm finding my art style right now.
Mhm.
I think I'm damn near close of getting consistent with it. But it's just like,
it's really nice.
it's one of those things where it's just like, it's so much in a combination of all the different knowledge and shit that I've accumulated over years and years of different practices.
Yep.
The different tips, different tricks, like how I like how a certain artist does something, and I would put that inside my shit. Like, it's all connected in some sort of way.
Mm.
So yeah, nothing is really original. It's just how you decide to take all these different pieces and what you were influenced by and make the same thing. I'm sticking to the art theme because that's just the best thing I know how to
You relate to.
But if we all like the same manga,
Right.
but we all take different parts of that manga,
Mhm.
it's gonna be something vastly different than what we all have, but the influence is still the same.
It's kind of like art in general. Like we can all look at a piece of art and then walk away with different things.
It's completely different things
Mhm.
from the same art piece.
I know I do. And kind of to circle back to what you were saying earlier, this is why I agree with what you're saying when you say we all need somebody, especially when you think about it emotionally. It's hard to believe that human beings can say, oh, I don't need nobody. I want to live alone. Blah 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 blah. Listen, even
Yeah.
I can attest to saying this to the cows go home. I'm a very like guarded person when it comes to my feelings. Like I've been open with my feelings before, and it's bitten me in my ass. But I also am not bitter about any of the people that I've liked or have been scorned by, because I feel like those were stepping stones in my personal growth. Because I see it like this: a lot of the girls I liked, I wasn't really compatible with it. In retrospect, like I dodged a lot of bullets, and I know there've been a couple girls that like this guy over here has been like, hey, what you doing, man? that girl is no good for you. So yeah, I think I have to thank those women, because it's like I could never really talk. I don't think it's good to talk, even if somebody does something bad to you. I don't think it's right to speak about it. Like, for example, knock on wood, this never happens. But if I were to allow myself to open up to somebody, we get together and things don't work out. And she decides that we have kids. I'm not gonna speak ill of their mother in front of the kids. Yeah,
that just makes sense.
Yeah, because they need to see their mom
As a mom.
Yeah. What she does in front of those kids is her business. Hopefully, I have enough common sense not to marry somebody who's a crackhead or something, to not do nothing in front of my children.
I mean,
But
that's things that you can explain once they get older, so they can understand more of the real story behind things.
Yeah.
And then they can make that decision for themselves.
Sometimes even then the damage is still done.
Sometimes even then, but at the same time, it's just like that happened with me with my mom and my dad. Like they were split up for a long time.
Yeah.
And I had this own preconceived notion of my dad and how he was, and then but the realistic version of it was something different.
Yeah.
Was he a bad person? No, he's a good person at heart, but he just made very dumb and bad decisions, which led to him being arrested and this one and third. Like, so I didn't know any of that stuff before, and my mom never spoke bad about him.
Yeah.
But it was only I forgot at what age she told me everything. It's just like, okay, that helped bring to attention like the different things that I didn't know about.
Shape the whole picture of who your dad was.
And even then afterwards, I still had to go into and experience it myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the other part. It's just like sometimes it doesn't matter how much you can tell someone something.
Yeah.
You just kind of have to figure things out by yourself.
And a part of me thinks about it like this: no matter what happens in my relationship with the girl, I could not, in good faith, allow myself to have sullied the perception of their mother in their minds, even if she's not a good person or whatever qualm she has with me. I'll take that to the chin. You know what I mean? I would tell my kids, it didn't work out. Things happen. And I like to think about it like this. Some people are not meant to be parents. I know several people that are like, not.
It's a lot. I think Tess can attest to that. I'm gonna keep doing that.
Like a lot of people are not meant to be parents, and some people are not meant to be, in a monogamous relationship. Like sometimes you think one way, and later on in life, you realize that this path in life was not meant for me. People grow; we're not static.
Yeah, it doesn't make it wrong or right. It just wasn't for you. Even though I just don't know how you can do a polygamous relationship.
I would rather count the sand at the fucking beach than to be in a polygamous relationship.
Oh yeah.
I just don't.
I am a jealous person. I'm a territorial person, and I should be the only person sitting on my man's dick.
That's fair. I love too much for me to be like, oh yeah, no, I'm comfortable with you sharing my partner with another person. I'd be furious. I'm not gonna lie. But I don't think I'd ever be the type of person to like do the crime of passion thing, even though I joke around about it, because I love myself and I know I'm not made for prison. Because I've made this. Oh, Well, now I'm gonna show me up. Why don't you? All right, I'm getting up now.
What?
Yeah. Probably his head, his little head. But yeah, I could not in good faith share my partner. I would my wife.
I remember I was telling Tess earlier, like I was in this weird spot with Valentine's Day coming up and different things. I was in this weird spot where it's just like I'm seeing a lot of relationships, and just like, man, like I would love to be in a relationship again because in my mind, just like I know for a fact I want to grow with somebody and so on and so forth. Like when we talk about picking people, I want someone who I can grow with. Like we're on our own different paths and stuff like that. I'm still building up myself as a person in my career and so on. And I would hope that they're doing the same and we grow, and that's how we end up where we're at. But there's this other side of me where I'm just like, I enjoy my free time, my space. I enjoy the fact that no one has to call me with their problems. I feel obligated to respond to that.
Yeah.
Like, if one of my friends texts me about a problem, I could be like, I'm asleep. Like, and my conscience would be clear. Like, I'm just like, here it is.
That's valid.
Like,
I'm gonna still wake you up though. I don't give a
yeah.
shit.
Hey.
I
Hey.
usually am polite with respecting your sleeping hours, but best friend duties are 24/7.
That is valid.
Thanks, buddy.
That's what you signed up for.
Apparently so.
Oh
But
man.
yeah, no, but when it comes to my girl, there are certain obligations, there's certain duties that you have to have while in a relationship. Like, no matter what it is.
Why is it that and I definitely want to hear from both of your perspective.
Okay.
Why do you think specifically when it comes to us black men that we're just dropping the ball when it comes to how we treat our partners, specifically black women? Because I don't care. Yes, you might say, oh, X, Y, and Z, and this girl is perfect for you because she's Asian, she's Japanese, she's white, whatever. Insert whatever race you want here. Why do you think we disrespect black women so much?
I feel like there's not one specific answer. There's like an amalgamation of
Whatever
like,
comes to the top of your head.
First you have stereotyping.
Yeah.
Which is the loud, the rude, the this and that, the black women are this and that. That's one.
Yeah.
You have feminism. So it's which is kind of weird in this sense because like men and women, like women want to be equal to men, but we play two different games.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I actually had an interesting experience with that.
Okay, well, it's been on it.
In the sense where I was, and this is my last relationship.
Okay.
At the time, I was working at a pizza place. Not because I wanted to, it was because like I needed the money and that's what I was going to do at the time until something else popped up. I was trying to get something else going. Now, the entire time of us dating, I'm not going to drop any names, obviously.
Yeah.
The entire time of us dating.
Barbara.
Yeah, because I was,
That sounds about right.
And the entire time of us dating, she first tried going into the army.
Ooh.
That didn't work out in her favor.
Right.
She was working for her mom. Her mom and her stepdad had started a business. And she was working for them, but she wasn't getting paid what she was supposed to be getting paid.
Wow.
And up until last summer is when she finally got like her job working at Amazon, and then she also got her car.
Okay.
So she was like driving now back and forth to work, and she has a job now with stable income and so on and so forth. The interesting part about that is that the whole entire time that we were dating, the job I was working, what I was doing was never an issue. The minute she started making her money and stuff like that and had her car, all of a sudden I became unambitious.
Easy. Wow.
Isn't that some shit?
That is some shit. That is like, what was the switch up? Like
You asked me.
That
tell
that
me.
that don't. I mean that just says more about her character, honestly. And I'm not gonna badmouth her, but
The reason why I bring that up is because that kind of goes hand to hand, where like you have your average guys who were just doing what they have to do, but there are some women out there who believe that if they make more money, all of a sudden you bring nothing to the table.
And honestly, I can jump in.
go ahead.
with
No,
that
please.
Tap
because
in.
My mom, I love her to death, but my mom wanted to raise independent women, which she did. And she was always like, aim high, aim for football players, aim for athletes, like, because like I'm not bad looking, my sister isn't bad looking, so obviously we could pull whoever we wanted. But it was on the token of like certain men of certain wealth are supposed to have certain attributes, like they're supposed to be intelligent, like good problem solving skills, creativity, blah blah blah. And a lot of females, well, a lot of women do attribute those positive skills with these dudes and these jobs, but like I don't think a lot of women take into the fact that when certain men have certain amount of money, they feel like they bought you.
Oh yeah.
And I personally feel like if I would have stayed with the person that I was dating before, and again, no tea, no shade, like I have no ill will against who I was dating before, but he basically is starting off making over 80,000 right now.
Oh, wow.
Starting off like first year in his profession because of the degree that he got. And I'm super happy for him. Like I want nothing but the best for him. But I know that if I would have stayed with him while he was making that much money, the relationship would have gotten so much worse. Like he was cheating on me broke. So can you imagine him having money to spend on bitches? Like he was sending money that we didn't have to pay for nudes in college.
Jesus Christ.
So can you imagine having money to spend? You gonna pay another bitch bills? Like I personally couldn't do it. But that's the person that my mom wanted me to aim for.
And you know what's weird about that? I've heard so many dudes talk about this, and there's a grain of salt in what they're saying, which is a pinch of truth. Yes, if you are expecting to date someone with very financially well off, right? Understand that means that their time is going to be sacrificed. There's going to be a lot of moments where you're not going to be together. So that's kind of the risk you have with that kind of person. I don't think it justifies cheating or saying you have to share me with a bunch of different girls. I understand that a guy like that in that position will have options. But the moment you say, hey, I want you to be my girlfriend or my wife, you got to cut that shit out. Because you have to take in consideration her feelings. And I don't think every guy that does this does it to be an asshole. A lot of them do. But a lot of these guys, especially these guys that speak on the internet, it comes from a place of hurt.
Because I could not imagine if I were to blow up as an artist and let's say DK's takeoff was a lot slower, for me to turn around and be like, oh, you ain't shit. You're not trying. Like you're complacent. You're lazy. Fuck you. Because like when I was low, he was right there. Even before we were dating. Like our friendship started with me watching this nigga draw on the iPad and me bothering him and holding him hostage until he started to show me how to draw. So quite literally, he showed me this shit.
That's crazy.
So if I were to blow up, we all could blowing up. But so it's like I can't imagine as a woman having a man that holds me down or at least is trying to support my growth. And for me to get to like a certain notch in that and then turn around and be like, now what you finna do, nigga? Now you got 3 weeks to get a promotion or this shit is dead. I can't imagine doing that shit.
That's evil.
So that's where, going back to your question about
why black men
drop the ball for black women and disrespect. And I was saying before, like it's a bunch of different things. There is no
one definitive answer.
There isn't. It's an amalgamation of so many different things that play a part. Like I mentioned before, I mentioned the fact that the stereotyping.
Yeah.
I mentioned the fact I said feminism plays a part because if you have, if you somehow convince females, if you somehow convince women that they have to be on the same standard as men or play that game, it's just like, no, you don't. Men and women play two different games, and you can be great. And it's funny enough because the women that a lot of men, well, the good guys, the good men look for, play the women game. Like they're great at what they do. I'm not talking about So cooking and cleaning, like I feel like as a human being, you should not do that shit.
Yep.
Yeah, that's just
100%.
right. So I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, are you able to hold it down? Are you a supportive person? Like, are you like those qualities? Are you going to like keep me in check? Basically, when I'm not talking about like cheating or shit like that, I'm talking about like holding it down when I'm just not there all the time. Because it's gonna get hard. Especially back then, when a lot of times when the guys were the ones who were making the money and the women were the ones staying in the house, that goes both ways. There's a struggle in both ends.
Yeah.
If you're the breadwinner of the relationship, then you have to hold the fort down when it comes to the house. And however you plan on playing that role, personally, I would love if my girl bring her own money. Yeah. Not because of any other particular. It's just it's expensive as shit out there. And we also have the opportunity to bring two different incomes in.
And I don't to piggyback off of your thing. I would never do this personally, like loiter my money, like flex my money on my woman. But I want her to feel like she accomplished things, because I feel like a lot of the women, besides the mental and physical abuse that they dealt with back in the day, they felt like they didn't have a purpose. And I know the counter argument would be like, well, isn't being a wife and a mother the purpose? And it's like, that's not all she is, because women are people.
Oh my God.
Shit.
Let me tell you how, if I get defined by how capable my uterus is of conceiving a child, I'm going to lose my fucking mind. Like, I want children. I want to be a wife. And like, to a certain extent, I am influenced by like the way I was raised of, if you're going to move in together, you got to get married, blah, blah, blah. So that is something that I am battling with, because you also don't want to rush your marriage. But I don't want to be defined as a wife. I am a whole ass person with whole ass interests, with whole ass goals and ambition. No, I'm not going to cook for that nigga every night, because he can fucking cook. No, I'm not going to clean up after his ass. He can fucking clean. Is our house going to be a mess? No, but if I'm not going to just pick up laundry, he's not just going to throw it on the floor or some shit. I am not doing that shit. Nope. And like, if other women look at me and be like, oh, I feel bad for your husband, feel bad for him, because he gonna suffer today. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not the domesticated type. I am a very submissive woman when it comes to a man that knows how to take a leadership role. Why would you want to create an environment where I would always feel the need to clean and do this and do that and do that? Like, why would you want to overwhelm me as a leader in my home?
I feel like guys who demand that have no self-respect for themselves or respect for their partners.
Because did your mama do that?
No.
Let's be real.
You get
all these men asking for wives, that their wives have to do X, Y, and Z. Did your mama do that for you? Because if she did, maybe you should move back in. Yeah. Just be, because I am a firm believer that my partner's relationship with his mom is going to reflect how he treats me. Because it's been proven, like, all of the toxic relationships that I've had, they've had toxic relationships with their mother. Yikes. This relationship that I'm in now, it's a healthy relationship. So it's like, we're healthy because he talks to me different. Like, he reacts to my emotions differently, opens doors, like, just certain things that are so different. And the relationship from mother to son is a lot healthier. Like, in my previous relationship, my ex was the surrogate husband. So when bills needed to be paid, or when his siblings were misbehaving, she'd call him like, oh, I need you to talk to your sister. Or I need your help paying the bills this month. Or I need your help doing this. And then me being the supportive spouse, it fell on me too. So then I was calling his sisters. Jesus. I was sending him money to send to his mom, or I was going there using my credit cards to help them buy groceries. Yeah. So it's like, when we broke up and she was like, well, she ain't shit anyway. And it's like, ma'am, I helped you find your runaway daughter. I don't want to hear shit from you. Like, I don't get it. But at the same token, I feel like after this relationship, because he felt like I did him dirty, he's going to go to the next chick and be like, oh, you got to be able to do, because my ex broke my heart. And it's like, nigga, I didn't break shit. You broke the relationship. I just severed it. I just cut the last tendon that was holding us together. I cut that shit off, but it was dead long before. So it's like, I feel like a lot of dudes that want certain things from women.
Which you still need help for, by the way. I wanted to just interject and put that out
there. You
I helped out.
Oh my god! Every
The
time.
wound.
Yes,
Yes.
I take pride in that.
Oh,
But
man.
it's like I really do feel like it comes from the relationships with their mothers,
Mhm.
because any man that's had a stable home, you don't hear him talking like that.
No.
Like, you just don't.
Do you, on the flip side, now flipping it back on black women, do you think black women have a way of treating men that they don't, I guess, find, I don't want to say necessarily just attractive, but dudes that they quote unquote settle with, or guys that they just don't like? Like, what's up with the disdain and the vitriol?
Okay. I almost feel like it's our lick back.
Mm.
I'm not even gonna lie to you,
Okay.
because I don't do it,
Yeah.
but it's been done to me where it's like dudes, instead of being like, I'm not interested, it'll be like, ew, why would I talk to a dirty dog like you? Like,
Jesus.
I've literally been caught like a gorilla and shit. Yeah,
A
yeah.
nigga called you a gorilla?
Yeah, I've been called monkey quite a few times.
What the fuck?
Yeah. So it's like, I really do feel like, to a certain extent, we get our lick back in when we can. Because I felt like doing that before. I haven't. I hope not.
I'm not gonna lie.
Don't cancel me if I did. But like, I don't feel like I do that. But a lot of women, I feel like it's an ego thing.
Mm.
Like, the fact that we can reject you and be like, nah, nigga, you below my standards. You're this, you're that. I'm a fly bitch. I need this, I need that. Like, it's an ego thing.
And why do you think, like, and it kind of harkens back to what you were saying with your mom, why do you think that when they say successful men, it's always these four, like athlete, celebrity, rapper? Is it three? Is it, or is three? Rap, scammer. So why is it always these four things and never like paleontologist, tennis, accountant, something like that?
I really do feel like it's because of the bragging rights. Because even with where DK is at now, the old heads are like, oh, make sure he doesn't get complacent at the position that he's at. He's going to need more pay. And I get it. We're going to start a family. We're going to move in together. Like, we don't want to just get comfortable at the entry level positions. But at the same time, it's like, you don't want a man that does not want to grow.
That is fair.
Because as a man, you're supposed to lead. Like, the traditional patriarchal roles, man is supposed to lead the household. So if you find a man that's not leading in his life, how can he lead you?
I think the most annoying thing, and by default, I don't know. I mean, partially I do understand why it's like this, because a lot of our men are incarcerated. So it just naturally makes sense why black women are like the matriarchs of the family. But a lot of the times when you do have the dad just sits there in the back, and it's not no tea, no shade towards my stepfather. Like to compare my stepfather to my father, my mother would always tell me stories about my dad, and my dad was very like authoritative. Like, he took command. He was ambitious. He was the complete opposite of my stepdad. And it's not to say she doesn't love him. She loves him with all her heart, but she sees that he's a very
laid back,
comfortable, complacent guy. And I've told her several times that personally, I get where you're coming from because you're a very ambitious woman, but we can't knock him for being, let's go. Come in. On air.
Why are you not?
Speaking of angry black men, Kai has joined the fray.
Oh my god.
Yeah, Kai's
knocking like we owed him money in this
like,
bitch.
who the fuck is knocking out my
Did
door?
one solid knock, like boom, let me in. But as a woman that's dated a laid back man, my ex was very laid back.
Yep.
And I feel like for us, it's like we see y'all potential.
Yeah.
So it pisses us off when we're like, babe, just go, just do this, just apply for that. I don't really want to. Then it's like, why not? Then it makes us feel like, you know, if you wouldn't even try for you, you're not going to try for the relationship. Like,
yeah.
I think for me, like with my past relationship, not to bring too much of that up, but it's like he was very complacent with where he was. He was very comfortable with the routine where he was at. Like, I didn't really feel that hunger for him to want to do better. And that was in his life and in our relationship,
Mhm.
it really wasn't until he felt outside forces were going to break us up that he really actually tried. And as a woman, we don't have that luxury of being complacent.
Mhm.
Or at least the ones that want more out of life. So like and not to, this is my opinion, but like I couldn't be a stay-at-home mom.
I understand.
My identity could not be my children and my household, because when the kids get grown and they leave, or when they're at school, what then?
What do you have left?
Or when you're a stay-at-home mom and you're teaching the kids, you get no you time. You get no, here you go, y'all go to recess, y'all have fun. You don't get that. Your life is your children.
Nope.
And like, if you're one of those women that you live for your children, that's great, but that's too much of a burden for your children to live for them. Like, you should want to. It's frosting. Yeah. Like, you should want to live for yourself. So it's like, as a man, like as a woman supporting a man, you should want to live for yourself. You should want to go for that promotion because you want that title, or you want that pay raise, or if this is not the job you want, you should be doing that side hustle. Like, you should be staying up late and waking up early. Like, you should want that for yourself.
Yep.
So when we feel like we don't see that, it scares us, or it scares me.
And that's understandable, because I don't know how, as a person, and if you are the type of person that is comfortable being complacent, it isn't a problem. But I can understand how that would detract a partner, because I wouldn't want, if I was one, I wouldn't want to be with a man who is unreliable. Like, I don't want to say that you couldn't live comfortable as an average person. That's not a good thing to be like, because a lot of the problems that people have in this country is they live over their means. A lot of people will be making like $80K a year, $70K a year, and then be like, I'm broke. And I'm like, how the fuck are you broke? And it's like, well, I have all these bills and expenses, and I live in this high-rise apartment. Oh shit, you're broke. So I can understand why a lady would not want a man who isn't ambitious. But at the same time, too, you have to look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, how can you demand that of a man when, you
knew yourself, don't.
Yeah, go ahead, Dre.
No, I was going to finish off what you were saying.
Yeah, no, finish.
How can you demand such a thing when you yourself aren't doing it, in a sense?
Yep.
It's kind of similar to how, let's say a guy, for example, wants a girl who, maybe, I don't know, has nice ass, flat stomach, works out, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But you yourself don't go to the gym or keep up with your own body. How can you ask that for someone when you yourself aren't even aligned with that reality that you want?
I think a thing I've said several times to you, but I don't think I've ever said this on the podcast. If you want a hot, nerdy girl, for example, you have to be the equivalent of that. And whatever you're trying to match with, get your ass in shape and go out there and meet them, because human beings, to an extent, are shallow creatures. Yes, there are people who don't give a crap and they're attracted to personality, but for the most part, we're shallow. We are, and I don't want to say it's a right or wrong thing, but it's just the sake of the situation. And I think we should look beyond the physical appearance, because I know personally, I've grown older. I really don't give a shit about, like, I do to an extent, don't get me wrong. I kind of care about my partner's appearance, but not because like shame or anything.
Yeah.
I want my partner to live as long as I'm here. And a lot of that comes down to
health.
Yep. Taking care of yourself. Because I've talked about this with Drain, and we probably said this last week. I'm on a health journey myself right now. And I've gotten a lot of wake-up calls and realized that I need to take care of myself, because no one's going to do that for me. I don't want the flip side of that to be having a partner and she's just blasé about her health. She's just doing whatever, drinking, smoking, or just is comfortable being like obnoxiously overweight. And it's I don't have a problem with big girls. That's not what I'm saying. But we have to call a spade when it comes to something like the fat acceptance movement or something like that, you know? That those situations are I believe it's toxic. And you can try to convince me otherwise, but I don't see from as an overweight guy and knowing overweight people from what I've been told, fat people don't like being fat. It's a coping mechanism when you hear a lot of people say it. And I know I could get canceled for what I'm about to say, but yeah, it's, you don't want to be fat. Yeah, a lot of the times, especially we know, no matter how much we call it the fat acceptance movement, it's really the fat woman acceptance movement. Like, guys are, yeah, they're fat, but nobody really respects a fat guy. They'll be like, I want a big boy, and the big boy's tall. The big boy's not. And talking about your chunky ass. I'm not gonna lie. It is what it is, and it's not to put any brothers down who are overweight, but guys, we can't afford to be fat. And ladies, if you're overweight, it's not that there's a problem with you per se. It's that you need to take your physical, because there's a mental component to being overweight. Like you have body dysmorphia. You feel like you don't want to be the fat guy in the group. Like, yeah, I know I'm the big guy of the group, and sometimes that fucks with you. Like, yeah, you take it on. I have a thick skin when it comes to like my personality, but I'm gonna call a spade and be like, I don't like it, and I'm doing something about it to circumvent this situation instead of just dwelling on it forever. But I don't know. That's just me. What do you guys think?
Yeah. Honestly, I don't have much else to say about it. I think we covered like
Most of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm just gonna pause it and wait for Tess to come back if she has any final thoughts about any of that, and then yeah, Tess, come speak on well, we were technically last thing we were talking about like.
Sorry about that, to get my friend out of an awkward situation.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah, we were talking about health and body acceptance and things like that.
Yeah, so like with my ex, I hate feeling like I'm one of those bitches that bring up niggas, but it's like,
nope, these are valid experiences.
I feel like he wanted to work on himself, but it was more of like for the wrong reasons. So he's doing the right thing for the wrong reasons.
Oh.
Like he's getting healthier for like his insecurities and not just for the sake of getting healthy. So it's like when it comes to dating somebody that's healthy, like the physical aspect is a major one, but it's also mental.
Yeah.
You have to be very careful about who you pick, because some people might not know what's wrong with them, but some people do. And they use that as an excuse. Like my ex, he'd be like, you knew what this was when you met me. Like you knew I had issues. You knew I had problems. You just gonna leave me like everybody else. And it's like that, not manipulation, because I don't think he did it intentionally all the time, but that it still was manipulation that made me stay. And I feel like when you are looking for a partner, you're looking long term. At least when you're dating to marry or you're dating to build a family, you're looking for long term. So you should match yourself up with somebody who does want to, hey, like, let's start working out together, or let's eat less red meat. Like, let's do this, let's do that, just because they want to be around for longer. Like, both my parents have had cancer.
Wow.
And I think my mom was the one that went through the most recent scare. And she's in her early 50s. So it's like knowing that there's a potential factor of like, you could lose the love of your life at any moment in time. You know, something like that is very scary. So when you meet somebody and you start to develop that deep bond with them, you want them there for as long as possible. Like, me and DK, we watched this YouTuber, and he just had like caught testicular cancer very early. He had to have one of his testicles removed.
Wow.
And he's 26.
Wow.
So I texted DK and I was like, yeah, you're due for a physical, I'm due for a physical. Like, we need to get checked, because ovarian cancer runs in my family very heavily. Like, not to get like too into people's business, but both like my mom and my grandmother have had operations done to prevent things from getting getting worse.
Mm.
So I have to get screened earlier for breast cancer and ovarian cancer. So I already know those are health conditions that I need to stay on top of myself for.
Mm.
But it's like, I don't know his family history that well. They might have hypertension or diabetes. So
Mm.
it's like, now is the age that we should start getting into those healthy habits, not when it's already like, oh, you got type 1 or you got high cholesterol. And it's like a harder transition.
Yeah.
So it's like moving out on my own, I've started to like eat less red meat. Like I only really eat steak if I go out, but most of the time it's shrimp and salmon. Salmon. I don't know how you say it. Salmon.
Salmon.
I just say salmon.
Salmon.
Yeah.
Salmon. They shouldn't have put an L in it if it would have fucking needed.
I didn't make English. Salmon.
Damn. Anywho, I try and like cook healthier because I know eventually it's going to be a necessity because of my family history.
Yeah.
So it's like when you meet somebody, we feel like we're young and invincible. We don't think that shit can happen to us.
Yep.
And it's that much harder to try and convince somebody in their 20s, like, hey, you need to start taking your health more seriously. Because it's like, nigga, what you talking about? I'm only 24.
Yeah. Until the doctor hits you with some you need to take these pills. Cause,
yeah.
Yep. That happened to me. I went to the doctor recently for my annual physical. Like, listen, boy, cholesterol. Boom. Take these pills. I'm like, what, doc? And she's like, it's easily curable. You just know what to do. Lose some weight. but yeah, the fact that she hit me with that at all means like, yeah, nigga, I gotta take this seriously. It's not time to joke around anymore and just do whatever. And it's good that I have homies to inspire me to be like, hey, bro, pick up the torch. Come on, I can do it. You can do it.
I mean, he do all right.
I mean, he's okay. He's okay.
Right. Let's not gas him
He ain't
too
no
much.
Akuma. But yeah, that's my piece. Anybody have any closing thoughts? Any closing statements?
I'm starving.
Yeah, me too, brother.
I feel like because we did start this shit on Black History,
Yeah.
but I do want to make sure I clean up any statements that could be misconstrued and say that first of all, it's my opinion.
Yeah.
So if you tell me that you're wrong, I'm gonna be like, I don't care. It's my opinion. It's how I feel. It's from what I've experienced. I do think that no one can love a black man like a black woman because I will, no matter who I date, no matter who I have children with, I'm gonna have a black child. I'm gonna have a black son. I'm gonna have a black daughter. There's gonna be certain experiences that my child's gonna deal with that's gonna be unique to us.
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure, like in Asian culture, there's things that's unique to them. Hispanic culture, like I'm not knocking anybody else's struggle because I feel like we all have them.
Yeah.
But as someone who's not fully Asian, I will not be able to relate. Like I'm Jamaican American, but I didn't grow up in like with a predominantly Jamaican influence. Like I can't speak patois. Like I ate the food, but a lot of like some of like, the more Caribbean feel, I didn't get that.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So I can't relate to a fully Jamaican man, but like I understand what it's like to be a black American here. Or like being dark skinned or being a black woman. Like I understand what it's like. So when you meet a black man that wants love or needs love and they're misunderstood, as a black woman, I'm the only one that knows where they're coming from.
That's true.
I'm not saying that other, races can't sympathize with that, but
sympathize and understanding, and
it's just not.
It's
You're
just
never.
not the
You're
same.
never going to have that
Yeah.
experience.
as like I said before, like the need, or essentially not needing to explain. It's like you just get it.
So yeah, all in all, like love who you love, but at the same time, let's not act like there aren't disparages in the races. Like let's not act like there aren't certain things that do happen more prevalent to the black community. And every community has its struggles. Every community should get its own attention. And I do feel like 1 month isn't enough for Black History. Like 1 month isn't enough for any heritage, or any ethnicity or any race. Like history should include everything, the good, bad, and the ugly.
Yeah.
But Black History Month to start.
Agreed.
Even though DeSantis is trying to take that shit away. Fuck him.
And they only teach us 3 things: Rosa Parks, MLK, and the Civil War. No, they skim. They make sure not to tell you about Malcolm X, Garvey, or.
I was gonna say TikTok because all the memes, but the memes are
Oh
funny
yeah,
too.
now we're starting to get a little like you. I didn't learn about a lot of prominent history, including Black history, until I got to college, and that's because I had a teacher that cares, and he's not even Black. So imagine that. Drain, you have anything to close with?
No, I think everything's been covered, and I think anything now would be repetitive.
Gotcha. Kai, you wanna add anything?
That man is lost.
Lost in the sauce.
I just got here.
You just spawned into reality.
Pretty much.
My closing statements are that I agree with Tess. A lot of my statements are my own and my own belief. If you want to attack me or challenge me, do it in the comments. There's a lot of it's going to be on all platforms, so you definitely have a option to speak and respond
and get banned.
No, I ain't gonna ban you. I ain't no pussy. But come correct. Don't say no racist shit. I'm so no. I'm fucking up because it's like what she said is really impactful. So I'm just trying to see if I have anything to add. But yeah, I guess I'm gonna be like Train. I have nothing else to add. Guys, plug yourselves. You do this at the end of every episode, Kai. You know how this goes.
Twitch.tv/Kaiju1JU 5_. Thank you.
You gotta slow that down, buddy.
Tessa draws a lot on all platforms.
Hey, you tell me to slow down?
That was coherent, bro. I don't know. I heard somebody's gonna have to put you in like 2.7 speed.
Twitch.tv/Kaiju KA1JU 5_. Is that better?
That's
5
better.
underscores?
Yeah, I can't get Kaiju like with underscore.
Well, 4 underscores?
Yeah.
No, I actually get with 4 underscores. I do 5.
Good lord.
And then for me, it's just G&A Designs.
And for me, it's Ollie Connors on most things except for Instagram.
Don't care.
Yeah, it's Oliver Cinema. I can't fucking take it. But yeah, thanks for listening. If you're listening to this on most places where you get your podcast, don't forget to give us a rating, 5 stars, maybe, hopefully, maybe if you like us. Give it a comment, give us a like. It helps a lot. And if you're listening to this on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you know the next time we upload. And thanks for watching. Oh, I could just unplug my ears. Oh my.